Hi, and welcome to Random Fandom, a series about the things that we love. Today I'm talking to Tammie. If you have been in the Billings Public Library during one of our Geek Outs or other fandom events like our Harry Potter Day, you have seen Tammie. She makes wonderful costumes, and she's going to share with us how she got started and some tips to help you get started as well. I hope you enjoy.
Hi, I'm Tammie. I work at Billings Public Library, and I'm a little bit of a cosplay fan. I wouldn't call myself an expert. I would like to be someday, but we're starting small.
Got to start somewhere. How would you define cosplay?
Cosplay is basically a combination of two words, costume and play. It kind of came out of Japan in the 80s with fans of anime and manga, and it's kind of exploded all over the world. People cosplay everything from movies and games and books and comic books, and pretty much if there's a character that you like and want to be, why not be it?
Excellent. Do you have a favorite character or a favorite genre that you cosplay?
I'm kind of all over the place with the things that I like. The things that I've done a lot of cosplay with is I do a lot of steampunk, which is sort of Victorian future, retro futurism. Victorian dresses, goggles, gears, airships, that kind of thing. It's something I've always kind of been obsessed with, and I like it with the cosplay because for me it's not so much cosplay as I'm playing a specific character as, and I can create whatever I want and be whatever I want.
Right.
But a lot of times people will do original characters, and a lot of times they'll do an established character or something that they enjoy. And for that, I've done Doctor Who. I did the 8th Doctor as a costume one time. I've done Star Wars stuff. I've been a Jedi. I've been a Twi'lek. Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. I've done a Hobbit costume. I've done a female dwarf, full beard and everything. I've been pirates. I've a little of everything.
Yeah.
At the library when we do our geek outs and whatever our genre is or our fandom for that day, I usually try to come up with something for it, even if it's just a simple jacket and floral shirt for Firefly, or something more complex like a Twi'lek for Star Wars.
And when did you get started then with cosplay?
I've been into costuming ever since I was a little kid. I loved to dress up, the big old box full of stuff. When I was a teenager, I was a member of the Society for Creative Anachronism, which is a group that does medieval reenactment. So I did a lot of medieval costuming and Middle Eastern for belly dancing. And then Halloween has always just been my favorite holiday, and I just love dressing up and making costumes, and sometimes the more elaborate, the better. As for thinking of myself as a cosplayer, that's probably only been in the last 10 years that I was fully aware of that term and what people can do with it. And people can do a lot with it.
So if someone is just looking at costuming and cosplay, how would you recommend they get started? Are there certain things that they should pick up right away, or where should they start?
Start with deciding you want to do it. Because as you do it, you discover things that you don't know how to do, and you'll want to learn how to do. If you don't sew, you can find costumes that have minimal sewing in them. You can also prepay or buy costumes online. There's a ton of stuff that you can just go ahead and buy that whole suit. The other thing about being online too is cosplayers like to show off what they do, and they like to tell you how they do it. So there's a ton of tutorials on there, whether it's makeup or how to do your wig, how to sew, how to not sew, how to hot glue something together to make it look good. It's your imagination is the limit of what you can do with it.
Do you find certain supplies that you like to use, certain materials that have been really useful for you?
Well, I sew, so I'm a big fan of fabric, lots and lots of fabric. But I like modding things, which is where you find something and you change it. A lot of times for my steampunk costumes, I don't make it from scratch. I go to the thrift store or I raid my closet and I find something that has kind of the right look of what I want to go for. And then you either like sew bits and pieces to it. Like I have this brown jacket that I wear a lot that I've sewn lace to and some beadwork, and then I've changed the collar and I have like pins and stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of the skirts that I wear, I tend to alter them, cut them to make them, smaller or add a bustle to them and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So you have pieces that you repurpose.
I do a lot of repurposing.
Yeah.
I have a doublet, little lace-up vest that I made years and years and years ago for the SCA that has been worn in my steampunk stuff. It's been worn with like Three Musketeer. It's been worn as a pirate. It has been used for so many things because it's a nice basic brown doublet.
Mm-hmm.
And you just throw other stuff with it and you have a costume.
Right.
And sometimes that's what makes the costume is the accessories.
Right. So given that, are there any pieces that it would be useful to invest some extra money in? Are there things that you...
Wigs are handy.
Okay.
And if you can get a couple good wigs in different colors, you can use them for different things. I have about 4 different wigs that I have used numerous times. I have a long black one that I've used for when I have done my Lady Loki cosplay. I've used it for Harry Potter doing Bellatrix.
Mm-hmm.
I've used it as a pirate. I have a long brown one that I've used for multiple things. And then I have like a long straight orange one that I originally got because the one character I wanted to cosplay is Agatha Hetterdine, which is from the Girl Genius comic books.
Mm-hmm.
I've used that for her and for various other things.
So I see you've got some wonderful things out on the table. Would you like to show us a couple of your favorite pieces that you've done?
Yeah. So talking about buying things online, wanting to do the Star Wars Twi'lek costume. And if you're not sure what a Twi'lek is, if you watch Star Wars, they're the characters that have the long head tentacles. There's a Jedi who's a Twi'lek, and then there are the slave dancers at Jabba's palace and stuff. But that was actually a piece I did buy online. Mm-hmm. And I've had to build all the other pieces for it because it was pretty much just the latex with the tentacles, and I've added stuff to it to decorate it up and make it my own. And then there's like the headpiece. Now it didn't come with the ear cones, so I had to actually make those, which was out of foam and rubber gloves and glue. You get creative with some of the stuff that you do. You find all sorts of odds and little bits that you have to put together and stuff. Yeah, I had to make those. It looks better when it's actually on your head. This is a fun costume to do, but with it being this blue, it does take a lot of makeup to get your face to match it.
I remember when you were wearing it, you were wearing a very full blue face as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was like a piece that I did buy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've used it a few times, and I have plans on using it some more. I want to make some other headpieces to go with it and more full costume stuff.
Right. And you mentioned the foam that you made the cones out of. What is that?
Fun foam. It's a craft foam you can find at any hobby store. A lot of times they do flowers and things out of it for like little kids, and you make stuff. But you can buy it in sheets, and if you're gonna be just starting and you don't want to put a lot of money into it, I highly recommend Fun Foam and hot glue. You can cut your pieces, you can heat them up to shape them a little bit.
Right.
They make a great base for things. I think I have actually Fun Foam inside of this, giving it some shape, and then the ear cones, I did that, and then just covered it with a rubber glove so I could get the texture.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
And then, I'm kind of a fan of Fun Foam these days. I want to work with EVA foam, which is a heavier duty, thicker foam. A lot of times it's kind of what you find like in flooring or yoga mats.
Okay.
I know a lot of cosplayers will buy up yoga mats to make armor. So you can cut it, you can glue it together, you can shape it, and if it's a thicker foam, you can actually carve into it. I've seen some amazing cosplayers online just build like exquisite armor out of a yoga mat.
Right.
Warbler is another thing that people use too, which is like a recycled material. It's kind of bland, tan, comes in a sheet, but you can heat it up and shape it, and it'll hold that shape. So if you need to build something that's going to be a little more rigid, you can do that, and then you can paint it or cover it with fabric or other materials.
So you'd use that for more of like a hard body,
If you want to do something
a
that's
robot,
a little more
or
hard body, or a lot of people will use it for props.
Okay.
If you need to make a big sword or an axe to go with your costume, or you want something a little more solid. Just with Warbler, don't leave it in your car in the sun, because it will remelt and flatten out.
Good advice. And you told me that you did foam for your Lady Loki costume
Yes,
as well.
when I did Lady Loki, it was Fun Foam, and I'll show you the headpiece first, because that one was kind of fun to do. I actually found the template for the shape online and printed it out, and it's just layers of Fun Foam that I then glued together and would carve in more layers, glue more together, and then eventually paint it all gold. These parts were kind of difficult to do because I tried to build them out of the Fun Foam and it was a terrible mess. But what this actually is a styrofoam heart-shaped wreath that I cut and was able to paint gold so that I could do it for my Loki costume, which it doesn't really fit with glasses. Which if you do a lot of cosplay, contacts are sometimes a very good thing, because there are just some costumes that don't work with these.
Kind of ruins the look a little bit.
Ruins the effect a little bit, and also it makes your mask sit kind of weird.
Right.
But this is one of my pieces I was kind of proud of making. I do want to redo this sometime. Now that I have some better skills and some better ideas on how to do it, there are things I want to do to make my Loki costume a lot better. These were arm pieces that I made to go with it, and once again it was just Fun Foam painted. I added some rhinestones, and then I sewed just little arm warmers that way.
Okay.
And then it's just hot glued together.
I was going to say, so the piece is hot glued on top of the glove? So you could certainly do that if you didn't know how to sew.
Exactly.
You could just find some long gloves and adjust them.
A lot of, hot glue gun will be your friend.
Right.
And then the other piece for it was I needed a chest piece. And so this was all out of Fun Foam as well. I cut each individual scale and then used a fork to get the pattern in it, and then glued it all together and spray painted it gold. And then I wear this over another top, and I have a corset, and then when I did this actually covers like the front of the corset.
Okay. Wonderful. And lastly, you mentioned going online to look at what other people are doing. Is there a specific place that you would go, or a cosplayer that you would recommend people take a look at?
Oh, there's so many cosplayers out there, and so many of them have their own YouTube channels. Some cosplayers have become like famous in their own right and with what they do. The one that comes to my mind is Yaya Han, who does incredible costumes. Highly recommend looking at stuff that she's done. But she's able to market herself. It's not just cosplay for fun for her. It's actually her whole business. And like Joanne Fabric sells Yaya Han fabric and patterns that are based on some of her stuff. Wow. So I mean, there's levels you can aspire to. But for me, I'll probably never be a famous cosplayer. I'm just happy to dress up and have fun. Although I love looking at some of their stuff and going, wow, I need to learn how to do that. And I think that's part of why I like cosplay, is because there's always going to be something else out there that you're going to want to do and learn how to do.
Right.
It's been a learning experience for me. And even if some of it is just making it up, I need this, how can I possibly build it with no money? Yeah, so.
Excellent advice. Thank you so much for talking to me today, and look forward to seeing your next creation.
Okay. Thank you.